I'm here with,
Your co-host, Javier Vacuna.
and on today's show, we're going to be talking about maintaining healthy relationship. And this is in general talking about all relationships, family, friends, siblings, all types of relationships. And today we are joined by Andres Hernandez. We have had him on this show before, but would you like to introduce yourself again to the audience?
Hi, I'm actually the brother of Santy. Um, I came here on the show. I don't know how long ago it was. Maybe a month and a half ago. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about my auto detailing business. But right now we're gonna talk about relationships. So I'm ready to get into it.
Yeah, well, let's get started. I do have an icebreaker, so for all of us to feel and get into the live vibe. And it's what's the strangest thing that constantly happens to you? And I guess I'll start, and then we kind of can go. The strangest thing to me is I get hurt all the time with the dumbest things. Like today, I had my laptop and I dropped it on my toes, and I opened the counter, um, and a water bottle fell on my head. So Andres knows this. I'm constantly getting hurt, and I don't know where I get my bruises, but I know I'm constantly getting hurt. So that's the strangest thing that happens to me throughout the day. What about you, Javier?
To me, it's honestly deja vu. Like I get deja vu all the time.
Oh,
Yeah, like I feel like I'm experiencing like the same thing over and over again, and it just happens. But it happens like every now and then, and I get so freaked out when I get deja vu because I'm like, did I dream this or was this already happening or this like start? I don't know. Deja vu is a really strange thing, but it's real. Like it does happen. There are times when you're literally sitting down and all of a sudden you're like, I feel like I'm living the same day again. What happened? Or like this moment feels so like the same. So yeah, deja vu is definitely one of those strange things that happens to me quite frequently. But how about you, Andres?
Strangest thing that happens to me frequently, honestly, off the top of my head, I don't know. I think one of the strangest things I would do a lot is I'd go to the fridge and just like open it constantly throughout the day, knowing that the stuff is there, but me hoping there's something there like new, like oh I might find to make like a sandwich after all. And I could have done that the first time I opened the fridge, but now I gotta open it like 5 times just for me to realize that I could do that.
That's actually so similar to what happened to me today. Cause at first I was like trying to see like what I wanted to have for lunch, and I opened the fridge initially, and I was like, oh, I can make myself a sandwich. And then like an hour later, I checked the fridge, and then there was like a burger inside that I had no idea was there. So I was like, oh, I could have had this burger for lunch, but I literally didn't know it was there. So it's like,
yeah, he does that quite often. He's
yeah,
like, and I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, I don't know. It's become like a habit.
yeah.
But thank you guys for sharing. Well, let's get started about relationship. It is February, so the famous 14th, right? Where Valentine's Day, it's a day where a lot of people celebrate with your significant other. But it really, love is in general, relationship is in general. So right to start off, Andres, we've learned a lot about different types of personalities, and him and I, we've gone and learned in courses and stuff, but a lot of people don't know that there's different types of personalities. And I want to ask, how has that helped you with building strong and healthy relationships?
Oh, it starts the I guess it starts immediately. The benefit you can notice is when you meet new people because you kind of have that perspective of knowing that your personality isn't going to be the same with the other person, and that's like the beauty of life in a way because everyone's different. Every point of view is different. So to me, it's a benefit knowing those out there that there's more personalities because I can connect to more people. It just allows me to have more communications. And it's kind of like languages, there's language barriers. And if you understand or are willing to learn a little bit of here, you get to have more connections that just your own language.
Ooh, I like that. Yeah, it's like we all speak Spanish in right now, but a lot of people outside don't know how to speak Spanish, but a lot of people are willing to learn, and I think that's what makes and builds a strong relationship is the willingness to learn, right? And be saying I don't know, but I'm willing to learn. And part of personalities is that there's different types of love languages, right? And why is it important to understand people's love language? And yeah, why is that important?
It's important because not everyone is the same. I guess it comes back to what I said in the beginning, because some people could show love in a different way and some people could take it in a terrible way. So you kind of have to understand the way a person wants to receive that love. For example, if you give like a little like play fight with your little brother, and what if the brother's like shy and he thinks that you're bullying him? Then it doesn't really connect. But in reality, you want to, like, that's like your affection of love, like you spending time with your brother.
Yeah, I want to go off of that off of what you've just been saying, because I think a big thing, right, for a lot of us is that with different personalities comes also not only like, oh, I like connecting with these kinds of people, but it also tells you like the kind of people that you don't enjoy hanging out with, right? Because I mean, we as much as we all want to get along, there's just some people that just can't get along with each other. It's just part of how it is, because we're all very different. And with that comes with, again, like love languages, like you were saying, play fighting, and also like teasing, right? Like I tease my friends like all the time, right? And we all like talk like really badly about ourselves, but we don't do it because we hate each other, right? Because if we hated each other, we wouldn't be talking to each other, right? So like through teasing, we just kind of understand that that's kind of how we get along, and that's how we show that we enjoy their company, right? But again, some people, if they're not used to that kind of environment, then they'll think that we hate each other, or they just wouldn't want to hang out with us. It's just, it all comes down to what your preferences are and what you're comfortable with being around. So yeah.
Yeah, like Andres, one of his things that he shows like his love language is teasing me a lot. And there are times where I've had to learn that that's his love language. And there are times where I'm really pissed off at him. Like, why are you bullying me about this? But over time, when you learn about personalities, like my personality mine is very like, I can be very talkative. He's very quiet, right? But there are times when he comes out and he's like, I'm talking. But I really had to understand his love language. And so I try my best not to get mad at him when he's like teasing me about stuff. Because I mean, we're siblings, right? And you bother your siblings. But there is one thing that we're really focused on, like, oh, I understand your love language. But what is your love language? Like, I can ask Javier as well. Like, why is it important for us to understand our love language and what we need to know that the other people love us? So yeah, who wants to start?
I'll let Andress go.
Okay.
I guess the reason why it really affects one person, I guess we could go back to what Javier said. It just is important to know what you want to be around, because you can kind of like pick at what you like to be around, and that could benefit you in the long run, because that will push you to what you want initially. Because some people would want to be like, oh, let's do a different hobby than when you like. It's good, but sometimes you want to keep pushing to that goal that you have. It doesn't matter what you want to do. For example, you don't see professional BMX riders doing snowboard all the time. Like, they could go and adventure sometimes if they want to, but they're really dedicated to that sport that they have. So they have their friend group that help them grow in that specific sport. Mm-hmm. And it goes with every way. For example, if you have a goal in mind of buying a house, you could go and have relationships that help you towards that goal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. I think with love languages, a lot, you just have to be very, like I was saying before, you have to be very understanding of what other people like, and it's not good to like put people down for what they like. Like if they want to, if they're hobbies, right? This all connects with hobbies. Like we all have different hobbies. Like one thing is that connects us, I would feel, is that we all like cars. We all like talking about cars. But maybe some people just don't understand that. They don't care about cars, They don't see cars in the same eyes that we do. But that's another way that we show like interest in each other, is right through talking through that medium of cars. So Yeah,
I love
I think
how you,
that's something to understand.
yeah, I love how you said the interest, right? Might not be what and the thing about, for example, for me, really understanding what I needed so people know that, so I know that they love me, is I first needed to understand what I was interested in and kind of reading myself. That way I can, like I told my brother, like, yeah, it's funny, but I also really do need you to tell me occasionally I love you, right? Even though you're my brother, like I need that. That's my personality. His is like, oh, okay, as long as you care and you show your care, it's very different. And it's what you need versus what somebody else needs is very different, and that it happens if you don't know that and you don't really understand that, you can collide in relationships, right? And one of the biggest relationships that a lot of people have a hard time in building a healthy relationship is with your parents, right? So Andres, what is your advice on building a healthy relationship with your parents?
I guess it comes down to knowing what your parents like and not trying to, like, you could push the boundaries sometimes to like how your love language is. You see, I tease my mom a lot as well. I don't just tease my sister, and she knows that. But I feel like she understood that as like Santi, where she grew into it because that's how it just I guess I matured into that way of showing my affection of love. And I guess that's the only advice you could give to, or one of the main advice you could give to people that want to get more closer to their parents is understand that, yeah, they're not just your parents, but they're also people too. And you could have a good relationship or even better relationship with them than like getting a group of friends because they have been with you and they know you the longest out of anybody.
Hmm.
So they know, they give you love and they show you love. Maybe it's through hugs or kisses, and maybe you won't like that at first, but understand that that's their love language because that's their language viewed as a parent, and you're not a parent yet, so you won't understand that. Maybe in the future you will do that with your kids, and then you'll be like, oh yeah, my parents used to do that to me. Yeah.
I wanted to add, so about parent relationships, one of the things that I've noticed specifically in Latino households is that a lot of our parents grow us in teasing too. Like they like to give
Yeah.
like pet names and stuff like that to their kids that either like hit at their insecurities, which I mean at some points can be problematic, but also like for example, like let's say there's like for the son who's really skinny, they call him flaco or something, right? They give him that nickname or something
Oh,
like
yeah.
that. You know what I mean? Like something like that. Where it's supposed to be like teasing, but also at the same time it's just like a that's just another love language of just showing like this is my family, like I like referring to him like this, and it's how we all get along. So yeah, I just wanted to add that.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for sharing. I think my biggest advice that I would give on healthy relationship is communication. I'm on the completely opposite of Andy or Andres, is that I communicate my feelings, right? If my mom says something that hurts my feelings, I will let her know. And sometimes it goes well, sometimes it doesn't. But really building a healthy relationship with your parents is having understanding and really communication, right? Both of those things are super important. If you just communicate but you don't understand, you won't get anything at all. But you really need to understand and communicate at the same time. With that being said, I want to hand it off to Javier.
Yeah, so actually, just going off of what you just said, Santi, about communication, I wanted to ask the both of you, since you're brother and sister, is who communicates the most out of the both of you? Like who sends out the text? Who's the yeah? Who does the most communication? You would say.
Hands down my sister. There's no competition there. It's hands down my sister.
I'm the oldest, so I tend to still have, like, I'm the older out of all of us with my siblings, so I am always constantly saying like, oh, he's my little brother, even though he's way taller than me. Genetically, I don't know why why that turned out that way, but um I'm always communicating with him, and I will let him know if I hurt his feelings, or if he hurt my feelings. But one thing I realized is I'm really good at communicating, but he doesn't, right? He holds it off, and at times I have to guess if I messed up, and occasionally I'll be like, are you okay? Did I do something wrong? And eventually he'll like tell me, but it is again trying to balancing things out between us.
Okay, so how important is communication to you, Andres?
It is, and it was hard for me to realize that because I always try to stay quiet because that was my personality before. I think I was really talkative during elementary, and then something happened in middle school. I don't know what it was, where I became quiet. So I just recently found that out because to me it just kind of felt like, oh, this is just the way I am and I don't really need to communicate. But one of my New Year's resolutions was to try to improve my communication because I realized that some people, like we were talking about, some people might not understand that my teasing is a way of showing love. So before it wasn't like an important thing, it was just kind of like a side thing that I should focus on during communication. But I really took a lot of that when I saw my sister communicating with my parents, and I was like, that is really important to have, and I should start building into at least communicating on some small things because I wasn't even doing that with my parents, and now my relationship with my parents have grown because of just communicating on small daily things that I used to not do.
Yeah, communication I think is key to any relationship. I mean, we've been talking about it so much throughout the show already. Because without communication, there's no trust. You can't build trust. You can't build honesty. You can't build personality. None of that without communication. So, yeah, thank you both for sharing your perspective on communication. I guess one more thing is, what's your favorite memory between the both of you? I guess just so the audience can know. I'm curious too.
Like with our parents or together?
Together, as brother and sister. Yeah.
um Ooh, I have so many. Oh goodness. I think I have so many, but I think recently for me is really connecting through cars. I think for a small period of time, him and I, you go through, you're growing up out of your teenage and you kind of shift
Yeah,
away.
you go through. Yeah,
You go through a phase where you're like, you're my brother. I live with you. I see you every single day, but I feel so distant from you at the same time. And you guys might feel like that with your parents or siblings. And I think for me was I bought a car. I bought a very classic old car. And right now we're rebuilding it. We're working on it. We're planning and really just connecting through cars with starting our own detailing business together. And then just shifting to doing projects together. I think that to me is my favorite memory, like the most favorite recently that we've had.
Okay. How about you, Andres?
Um, Mine is also recently. As she was saying, we kind of had this place where we were living together, but not really. It just happens. You're
Yeah.
thing, and I remember that I was really dedicated to track and field, so I didn't really have like my sister as like my main focus, which was really bad because main focus should be family should be part of that main focus.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite memories I have with my sister is when she started asking advice from me, and that kind of I love that because it kind of showed me that she wasn't thinking me as her little brother, but as like a friend and wanted to see point of views from different places. And I really like that because to me, it felt like our relationship has grown stronger, that she is comfortable of not being with that ego of I'm the bigger sister, so you have to follow me to change her view. And I may have something I could take away from my little brother because maybe he has an experience that I haven't experienced yet. And I could get something from that. So I think that was one of my favorite memories.
That's
Oh wow.
yeah, that's very sweet of the
Really
both of you.
sweet.
Yeah. Seems like you guys have shared a lot of great memories, and thank you for sharing that. We're gonna switch gears now, and we're actually gonna start talking about building like relationships with friends. So I know we all love our friends. At least I hope we do. And I wanted to ask you, Andres, do you consider your friends part of your family? So I guess going off of what you were talking about, how your main focus should be family.
Yeah, actually, yeah, I do. Friends are very important, as I was talking before, because they actually take you to places where you never thought you could have before. And that could be good and that could be bad, depending on
Mm-hmm.
what kind of relationships you build. And I think family comes with those people that try to lift you up instead of pushing you down. Because you may not know it, a friend is trying to be behind your back and do this, and that's not really helping you. So I wouldn't consider that as a family per se. But when once one person is showing love to you and you show love back to that friend,
Yeah.
you guys push together and you guys motivate each other to keep doing what you love, but you guys get to do it together. That's when it becomes like a brotherhood, you know? And that's really when I start considering some of my friends family.
Yeah, no, I'm the same way. Like, there's a lot of friends out that I have that I'm very grateful for. And I've known a lot of them since elementary and a few of them since middle school. It's just like those friends that stick with you. I feel that throughout like your younger years and have gotten up to the point that you're at now, those are like your real friends. I feel like that's the way I see it. Um, and sometimes you also have falling outs. Sometimes you have your best friend or maybe your friend that you talked to before for a long time. All of a sudden things change, they move or something, and you guys just it just all kind of goes away. What are your thoughts on that? Like because I don't know, because that's happened to me, but I don't know if it's happened to you guys. So I guess that's a question for both.
Yeah, it has happened actually. And I've had different point of views in that because I've had two different types of experiences when a friend moves away. Because I've had a total of 3 of my best friends that moved away, and I've had 3 different reactions to it. Because I've had one of my friends since I had it in elementary, and we kind of just fell apart, but we still communicate. And then I have another friend that we were very close together for most of my middle school and then most of high school. Once he moved, it's like a switch came on and we kind of just grew apart. But I have this other friend, which I consider like my brother, and we communicate every day. And we're talking every day, even though he moved the farthest, which is the funniest.
Wow.
He moved to Spain, while my friends are still here like 40 minutes away or an hour and a half away. But he still communicates to me on a daily basis. And he would call me up even though it's like late over there, and he'd be like, "Hey, how you doing? I miss you so much. I want to be over there." He's like, "When are you coming here? When are you coming there?" So yeah, I've had different experiences with that. And I think you kind of get to see who is the one that wants to stick with you and who's the one that really cares about you.
Right. I think that hits the... Yeah, go. Did you want to add anything, Santy?
Yeah, no, I just for like the youth, a lot of people get stuck up with relationships. I know my brother always said, "You are the one with the life that is very dramatic," because I've always had a lot of friends come and go. But reality is, it's not me being dramatic or my life is dramatic. It's just the reality of life. You will have friends that will come and you will have friends that will go. But at the same time, you will figure out once you get older that sometimes it's not about how long you've known the person. It's really how you connect and understand and respect one another that builds a brotherhood or a sisterhood. And for example, for me, I've lost so many friends, right? But the one person, I was going through a really hard time. And one of my friends that I just had, like, oh, she's just someone I know. We really bonded very strong, and she does the same thing. Like, she'll call me, she'll text me saying, "Hey, how you doing? How are you? How's your day? This is what I did." And if I have a goal, she'll push me towards my goal and doing, the same thing to her. And it's just really understanding how that your friends are people who actually care about you. And this is an advice that Andres gave me. And he said, if your friend is giving you a hard time and stressing your life out, it's not meant to be. And you need to back away and not be disrespectful and be like, "Hey, I don't want you to be my friend. Just, step back and really take care of yourself," because your true friends will bring you more happiness. And we'll have challenging times, but it's challenging times that will build you to be stronger. Just to put that out there, because I think that's a very good advice that I got from Andres on that.
Yeah, that's super good. Because I agree. I think that if someone's just being toxic towards you and not really helping you move forward in your life, because I'm a firm believer that friends are there to help you grow and to help you kind of just go through like help you if you're going through things, or just kind of guide you and be there for you. But if they're more just blaming things on you or starting unnecessary drama or whatever, anything that's affecting you emotionally and physically too, then I mean that's just, yeah, they're not a friend. I don't see that as a friend or anyone that you should be spending time with at all. But yeah, I mean, Santy, did you want to switch the topic over? Yep.
Yeah, before we end the show, I mean, one topic of relationship is the young love, right? And I know I've had very different perspectives, and everybody has different perspectives about young love. And so I want to ask Andres, what is your advice on young love?
An advice for young love, I guess it's just be open. I guess that would be like a very good advice in my perspective, because some people feel like once they have one relationship, it's their ride or die, and it's gonna be like that forever, which is not really true with anything. You know, life always hits you in a different way. You could either mature out of the relationship, or bad stuff can happen through the relationship. And if it's bad and you're still trying to stick with it, there's a point where you have to cut the cord and understand that, hey, it just wasn't meant to be, and you'll meet new people. Because yes, young love is kind of like sticks with you even though you're older, but that's because it was your first love, not necessarily meaning that it's the love that's meant to be. And some people have the luck of actually meeting the person at their first love, but that's not every person's story. So I think it's just being open-minded to knowing that you can work hard for a relationship, and you should work hard for a relationship. But if it gets to a point where you guys both either grow apart, it's understanding that, hey, it might hurt, the breakup might hurt and everything, but you were still a person before you met that person. So there's always a side of you where you are strong without that person. And it's good understanding that you are worthy without a person before you get into a relationship as well, because you have that value inside of you. So you know that without that person, you'll be okay.
Yeah, that's really great. I agree with everything that you said. I think also it's good to not rush into things, just don't rush into a relationship all of a sudden just cuz it seems like, oh my god, like you said, like I feel like that happens when your first relationship is that you make the mistake of thinking like, or I mean, it could not be a mistake. I don't know. Love is a very complicated thing, as we all know, and your first relationship isn't gonna be the one that's gonna last the longest, or maybe it will be the one. You never know with love. But the point is, you shouldn't rush into things expecting that things are gonna go super smoothly. I don't think any relationship is super smooth. To be honest, I feel like every relationship will always have its hurdles, its ups and downs. I mean, there's a lot of people. That's why a lot of people that get married either get divorced 2 years later because they just can't stand each other. Like it's just a reality that happens. But again, like I agree with you, Andres. Like if it if it wasn't meant to be, it wasn't meant to be. And people shouldn't get too upset about that because relationships can get complicated, and humans, like emotionally, we get really crazy about things, and not going up with super high expectations will benefit you in the long run. Because also that's another thing is if you have too high expectations, like for example, like you're only looking for people that look this certain way or have these certain things, like it's gonna take forever to find a relationship for you, or like for you to even like get a date or anything, because your expectations are just way too high. That goes for both boys, girls, or whoever they identify as. Like it's just a lot. And something that people should also understand is that for young love, if you do go through a breakup, you need to understand that like there's plenty of fish out there in the sea. I know you guys hear that probably hear that all the time. But also you should get help if you start feeling like depressed, or because I know I have a ton of friends who have gone through breakups and they've gone like down the deep end. Like they feel terrible. Like they feel like they can never love again, that no one's ever going to love them ever again. Like it's something, it really screws up your mental health. Like I totally get it. Breakups suck. But know that you have your friends there to support you. And you shouldn't feel that way, because just again, it happens to everyone. It just doesn't happen to you specifically. There's plenty of people who have also gone through really bad breakups.
I agree with that on that. It happens to a lot of people. And for me, I've seen a lot of what unwanted looks like, or how it feels like, right, to people, right? So when you break up, it's like, I wasn't wanted, or this didn't work out. But keeping in mind that you are beautiful and handsome just the way you are, and that it's not meant to be, and just taking a step forward and be like, take what from a breakup, learn what you need to learn, use that in the future so that you will know better, right? And if you're in high school, I recommend love yourself, find out who you are, and then later on find a relationship, because like Andres said, if you don't know who you are and you're with someone, that's gonna lead you nowhere.
Right.
So, and touching on with what you said, we are so complicated as human beings. So me myself, I'm complicated, and being with someone else who's also complicated, putting us together, it's a lot of complications. So before we end the show, I do want to recommend a book that I read, that my parents told me to read, and it's How to Make Friends and Influence People. This is one of my favorite books that has helped me to communicate and to understand people, not just in any place, right? In work, in professional life, with my siblings, with my mom and dad, the whole relationship. Find information and educate yourself on personalities and how to communicate better. Because really, when you communicate your feelings and you understand other people, there's a lot of things that can happen for you. And also self-love. The biggest relationship that we ran out of time, that I wish we could talk more about, is the relationship with yourself, right? If you have an amazing relationship with yourself, the energy that you put out to other people will be absolutely way better, right? So let's social media, we compare ourselves and we see other young love relationships on social media. Like, I want that. But just know that time you'll get there, right? Don't rush things. Time will get there, and enjoy life. So really, thank you so much, Andres, for being on the show. We love having you, and we hope to have you at the new studio soon. And to all of you guys who are watching, happy Valentine's Day. And remember, Valentine's Day should be every day, right? Show the people that you love a little bit of love during the day, saying I love you, saying hi, how are you, even a hi, and you look good today, or I like that, I like what you're wearing. That sometimes what it does to a person's emotions is absolutely awesome. So thank you, everybody, and I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you guys next time.
Yeah, take care,
Bye.
everyone.